Could you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do?
My name is Andrew Keats, and I'm the director of As Is, which plays at the Trafalgar Studios from the 1st of July to the 1st of September for a 5-week season.
And what is your favourite part of what you do?
I've done an interview like this before. I've done a talk to interviews. It's my second time. So I've kind of already spoken about in regards to process, but what makes this special and my favourite thing about what I'm trying to do is create an event. Create a response, as I did when I mounted the production before. A genuine, immediate response to the fact that thousands of people are being diagnosed with HIV in this country, and the public doesn't seem to be waking up to that. So I'm presenting what I think is the most accessible, human, funny, vibrant play about those affected in New York in the 1980s by the AIDS epidemic, where it was a death sentence, where the only treatment that was available to us was to take one's partner, hold them until they died. As someone who's been diagnosed with HIV nowadays, I don't have that death sentence. Instead, I have a stigma, and people are fearful of HIV. People aren't acknowledging that people like myself on medication cannot pass on the virus, yet we're the first people that people are fearful of. So by bringing As Is to the West End, it's an extraordinary production with a just brilliant cast. And that isn't PR, they are just brilliant. It's bringing a collection of some of the most eminent speakers on HIV and AIDS after every single performance of As Is. People like Paul Gambaccini, people like Tony Calvert, one of the founders of the Terence Higgins Trust, people from ACT UP, the new wave that are responding to stigma, the Terence Higgins Trust themselves providing rapid HIV testing after every Friday evening performance in the theatre. And on top of that, there is no memorial for all those that we've lost to AIDS within London. It doesn't exist. So the auditorium will become a temporary memorial to all those that we lost in the 80s and the 90s. This is a response to the past, the present and the future of HIV. It's so much more than a show.
When was the first moment you fell in love with theatre?
Again, in the interview I did before, which I'm sure is down here somewhere, I've already answered that as a boy. However, when I was a teenager, when I was 13 years old, it's funny, as a teenager, lots of people hide things under their beds that they don't want parents to discover, that they might be looking at. In my case, I had certain plays. One was a play called Bent by Martin Sherman, that I was very lucky to direct twice when I was 24, which looks at 2 gay men and in a concentration camp, and the extraordinary human ability to love in adversity. And another play that I had was As Is by William M. Hoffman. And that's real, that's not, again, just a soundbite. I had that play when I was 13. It even ended up, there's a speech Saul has, which actually got me into the various drama schools that I went to. But just an honest look at to love and be loved in return, and to accept someone for their differences, no matter how hard they are, for me is my true ideal. It's the definition of love. And both those plays share that. And to have directed them both and to have brought both of those plays back at various points of my career, and to use them for good rather than just entertainment. That was when I first fell in love with those plays. And I'm falling in love with them again because they meant so much to me when I was younger.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Again, I've answered that before. To keep going. I think the thing I find myself, because I'm only a baby, I'm 29 years old, reminding myself not to sell out, to concentrate on responding to society through art rather than responding to a paycheck for commercial theatre. I never want to be guilty of being bracketed at doing that shiny show that's terribly entertaining. Lots of people do that brilliantly. I always want to have my finger on the pulse of our current political state and respond accordingly. And I did that recently at Trafalgar Studios with Dessa Rose, with the rise of UKIP, and looking at the diversity from the past and how we are so judgmental of people based on their colour or their creed. And now I'm doing the same thing, but for people with HIV and AIDS.
And finally, if your life were a musical, what would the grand finale number be?
To be honest with you, at this stage of my career, I don't know if I've even got to the interval yet. So I don't know. I know my favourite finale is the end of Sunday in the Park with George, where Dot says, "White, a blank page or canvas." But as I said, I'm 29. I've got plenty more numbers to get through, plenty more scenes to get through, and concentrating on the finale. I don't want to think about that. Not just yet.
Great. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.